Hello students, welcome to online course of Mechanical Measurement and Metrology. Myself Abhishek Trivedi from Mechanical Engineering Department at LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. We are discussing Introduction to Metrology. In the previous lecture, we have already covered the topics accuracy and precision and types of errors which are generated in the mechanical measurements. Today we are starting with standards, like we are going to discuss material standards, then we are going to discuss the wavelength standard, then we are going to discuss the classification of substandard, and we are going to end our chapter by discussing calibration and traceability. Okay, we are starting with the first topic, material standards, in which we are going to discuss the imperial yard standard. As of now, imperial yard standards are not very much in use, but in the ancient time it is the very basic standard for the measurement, in which we have designed a bar having the composition of copper, tin and zinc. In particular composition, the copper having the percentage of 82%, tin with 13% and zinc having the 5%. This particular bronze bar having the total length of 38 inch, in which we have draw a gold plug having the total length of 36 inch, and the length 36 inch, that is known as our imperial yard. The particular dimension, or we can say the particular length, represent the imperial yard, and it is a very useful parameter for the measurement of the length. The cross section of the bar having the values of 1 inch and 1 inch each. The particular bar having the gold plugs over the top surface, and which is highly polished and contain the 3 lines engraved, which is transversely, and the 2 lines are longitudinal in the directions. This particular combination of the line, which provides a proper measurement of the length of 36 inch within the bar. The particular dimension is known as the imperial yard standard. Then we have move on to the imperial yard standard to the international meter standard, which is nowadays very much useful for the measurement of the 1 meter. For the measurement of the 1 meter, we have designed a proper wedge shape. As you can check on your screen, the wedge shape has been designed by the International Bureau of Measurements, and they have designed this kind of a wedge shape having the total length of 102 centimeter. The cross sections of this particular wedge is 16 mm each. On the particular length of 102 centimeter, we have drawn the 2 lines, which is 1 centimeter from both the edges, and the distance between these 2 lines is known as 100 centimeter, or we can say 1 meter. We have provided the 1 centimeter on both the side beyond the basic line for the measurement to overcome the erosion, or we can say the wear and tear defects. The particular wedge shape which provides a higher rigidity for the measurement. The international meter standard has been made up by means of pure platinum and iridium alloy. The platinum having the 90% and iridium having the 10%, and which is maintained at a 0 degree atmospheric condition. Nowadays, this particular international standard has been placed in the Geneva, Switzerland, and we have maintained this particular standard with the proper atmospheric condition to maintain the materialistic composition properly. But suppose due to some natural calamities, if particular international standard has been destroyed, then we have no any reference standard to measure the 1 meter. So what we have done, we have transferred the materialistic standard to the wavelength standard. For the transformation of materialistic to wavelength, we can make sure that whatever natural calamities has been generated, we cannot destroy our basic 1 meter length. And to provide such kind of 1 meter length, we have designed a proper wavelength standard. The wavelength standard is not dependent on any kind of physical parameter or any kind of physical situations. If I have to make a 1 meter by means of this wavelength standard, what I am supposed to do, I will just pick up a basic Krypton 86 having the red and orange radiation, and I will simply take the total number of waves 763.73 number of waves, and if this much amount of the wave has been cumulated, then the cumulative length of this much amount of the waves is known as the 1 meter. So by taking this kind of monochromatic light as a natural and invariable unit of the length, the dependency of the working standard on the physical standards has been totally eliminated. So we have taken the wavelength standard as our basic standard for the measurement, and we have directly jumped from the materialistic standard to the wavelength standard. And next we are going to discuss classification of substandards. The substandards has been classified in the 4 different categories: primary, secondary, tertiary and working standard. The first one, that is the primary substandards. Primary substandards means the basic reference standards. In the previous sessions we have discussed the international meter standard, and I have told you that the particular international meter standard has been placed in the Geneva, Switzerland. That particular standard is known as the primary substandards. The primary standards means it is a single piece over the universe. Suppose by any kind of nature calamities, if that particular reference standard has been destroyed, then we don't have any kind of reference standard for the measurement. So what we have done, we have stored that particular primary standard under the proper precise conditions, proper atmospheric condition with proper care. In 15 or 20 years we are taking it once in a while, and then we are removing from the laboratory, we are going to measure the particular standard, and then we are going to form some sort of replicas from that particular standard, and then once again the primary substandard has been placed inside the laboratory for next 10 to 15 years. Whatever the replica has been generated, that particular replicas are known as the secondary substandards. We can say that the secondary substandards are exactly same as the primary one, but the change is the primary is only a single piece, whereas we have number of replicas of that particular primary substandards. All the replicas are known as the secondary substandards. All over the world, all the countries are following that particular secondary substandards as the basic reference for the country. Suppose in our case, India having the secondary substandard in the New Delhi laboratories. So what we have done, we have taken the replica of that particular primary substandard, and then we have stored that particular replica in the New Delhi. So whatever the reference, or we can say whatever the standard system has been designed inside the India, we are going to take the reference as that particular secondary substandards. Then we have made a number of replicas from that particular secondary substandard as well. All these replicas are known as the tertiary substandards, and these all replicas are placed inside the PRLs, we can say physical research laboratories. And whatever the research work has been done, whatever the experiments has been done, what we are supposed to do, we are simply taking that particular standard as a basic reference standard, and then we are going to take the different experiment, we are going to take the different readings. Then, and the next one, that is the tertiary substandards. In the tertiary substandards, what we have done, we have taken the secondary standard as a basic reference, and then we have made a number of replicas of that particular secondary standards. It is known as the tertiary standards, and for India we have placed that particular tertiary standards in a number of PRLs, we can say physical research laboratories. And whatever the experiment, whatever the research work has been done, whatever the measurement, or we can say whatever the dimensions are going to be measured for that particular experiment, we are taking the tertiary standard as a basic referral standards. And then suppose a company has to manufacture some sort of scales, then the company is going for the PRL and asking for the providing the tertiary substandard as a referral standard, and then taking that particular standard as a reference, the company will going to manufacture the scales. And whatever the scale has been manufactured, those particular scales, or we can say those particular standards, are known as the working substandards. The working substandards are the standards which are available for the local public for the basic measurement inside the industrial, or we can say the academic institutions. So what we are using the working standards. And what we are expecting that my working standard having the accuracy of 98 say 99% of accuracy. So we can make sure that to maintain the accuracy of 98-99%, we have to make sure that the accuracy of the preceding substandards, or we can say the tertiary one, has the accuracy of approximately 99% or more than that. And to make sure that the accuracy of the tertiary substandard, we have to make sure that the preceding one, means secondary and the primary, having the higher accuracy than the subsidiary ones. So this is the basic classification of the substandard. Then the next topic is the line standard and end standard. As the name suggests, the first one, line standard, means the distance between the two engraved lines which is used to measure as a length, and it is known as a line, or we can say line measurement or line standard. Suppose take a plain paper, draw the two lines, and if I have to measure the line between if I have to measure the length between these two lines, so what I am supposed to do, I will simply take a routine scale and I will place the scale over the lines and I will simply measure the length of the lines. Then this particular measurement is known as a linear measurement, or we can say line measurement. The instrument used for this kind of measurement are known as a linear instrument, and the standards followed for this particular method is known as a line standards. A basic conventional scales are known as a line standard instruments. Then the next one, that is the end standards. For the end standard, if I have to measure the distance between the two flat parallel surfaces, to measure such kind of measurement, or we can say to measure such kind of dimensions, whatever the procedure has been followed, the procedure is known as the end measurement, and the standards which are followed for such kind of measurement are known as the end standards. So suppose I have to measure the diameter of the ball, then what I am supposed to do, I will simply take a vernier caliper, place the ball inside the vernier caliper, and I will measure the external dimensions of the ball. I can say that the diameter is exactly equal to the linear distance between the two end flat parallel surfaces. So what I am going to do, I will simply measure that particular distance, and then I can say that whatever the distance has been covered, the distance is known as the diameter of the ball. So this is the end standards. Now we are going to discuss the last topic of the chapter, that is the traceability and calibration. Now first of all, let us understand what do you mean by traceability. Traceability refers to the value of the standards where it can be related to the stated reference through an unbroken chain of comparison with having a proper uncertainty. We can make sure that the traceable calibration ratio is 4:1. Now understand what is the basic concept of the traceability. Suppose I have to make sure that the working standard which I have available having the accuracy of, let's say, 96%. Then I know that I have made that particular working standard from the tertiary one. So I have to make sure that the ratio between the errors in the tertiary and the particular working standard is maintained as 4:1. By maintaining such ratio, I will decide the maximum acceptable errors in that particular tertiary standard. Let's say here the accuracy of the working standard is 96%, so I can say that the error of 4% is acceptable in the range. So to measure, or we can say to manufacture such kind of working standard, I have to manufacture the tertiary standard having the accuracy more than 96%, let's say 97-98%, so that we can make sure that by taking the 98 as a reference, I can make 96 as a working standards. So this kind of chain of comparison within the range of standards is known as a traceability. The last one, that is the calibration. Calibration is a basic process of checking the accuracy of measuring instrument, or we can say the dimensions, or we can say the tolerance of the gauges by comparing those particular standards or instrument or gauge with the higher accuracy gauges. So this particular process is known as the calibration. To produce the good quality of the product, we need to make the accurate system for the measuring instrument with higher accuracy within the range of limit. This particular process is known as the calibration process. If I have to design a proper dimensioning instrument, then what I am supposed to do, I will take the same instrument having the higher accuracy, and by taking the reference, I will make a proper instrument for the dimension measurement. So this is the end of the chapter. From the next lecture, we are going to start a new chapter. Till then, thank you.